Welcome to part 1 of our mission on Freisland. Our lance has encountered some unknown contacts in the Highlands and is about to engage them. I'm doing this as a post-commentary because I found this game far too intense to actually speak through. An easy fight against 4 light mechs turned into quite a hard battle when you have to play in a way that I'm not used to, which means keeping your mechs in one piece and not losing any of them. Our first contact is a spider, which takes a shot at the fire starter. Because my mechs have no evasion, he takes a hit and the music fades in.
Is that it? I'm barely scratched!
My first thought here is, do I push forward and engage the spider, or do I hang back and let the other mechs come to me? What I then notice is that all of the light mechs have gone. If you look at the initiative counter at the top of the screen,
What's up, Commander?
I have 4 moves before they get to do anything. So I decided to move forward and try and take a few pot shots.
I hear ya.
One of the things I'm looking at doing here is maximize the amount of chevrons I can get in my moves. Every chevron is another +2 to hit in terms of difficulty, and I want to get as many as I can. Unfortunately, I can only see the spider at the moment, and it has a +8 difficulty to hit, so I decided to sprint forward with the fire starter to reveal the other mechs and hopefully get a better shot for the trebuchet and the Shadowhawk to fire at. I also reveal the 4th mech at the back, so I don't reveal what it is. The 2 mechs I reveal from this move are a Locust and an Urban mech. We'll have a close look at them in a second. The spider has 2 medium lasers and it's ridiculously fast. The Locust here is a Locust 1E with 2 medium lasers and 2 small lasers. Small lasers are not a joke in this game, they're quite scary. And then we've got an Urban mech, which is the same as the Urban mech that Nazir is driving, although I bet you that one has a fixed leg.
Yeah? What can I do you for?
Although I did push forward the damage to the leg that came from Strana messing up the maintenance check, it doesn't show as a damaged component, but if I do mouse over it, you'll see that it only has 55 armor instead of 60. The values for armor are just 5 times the tabletop values. All I'm doing here really is trying to get into positions for good fighting next turn. I don't really have a good prospect for anything to fire at here. The Locust has 3 evasion and it's bulwarked, which means it takes half damage. And the spider has so much evasion, you can see my chances to hit are so low. I just fire to try and take some of the chevrons away from it. Every attack takes 1 chevron, even if you miss. That's every combined attack, so not every weapon that you fire. So you can see that it's now gone down to 3 chevrons. So now it's going to go +6 to hit. I make an interesting choice here. What I should probably have done is stay back and fired LRMs from the trebuchet. But I was worried about the next combat because I'm not going to get a chance to rearm and repair before we engage the pirate kick captain. So I decided to use the medium lasers, and I thought a 50% hit to fire with 3 of them was better than my chances of the As you can see, the spider has very little health as we've already stripped the armor from its left-hand side. The Urban mech's probably the scariest mech for me at the moment. And the fact that it hits the fire starter with that many chevrons and hits him in the center torso, stripping off all of the armor in the first turn, or pretty much the second turn, is pretty frustrating. You can see I'm mousing over it because I'm that concerned. So he's down to 48 structure. I'm thinking about doing a melee attack against the spider here. The nice thing about the fire starter is its flamers and its machine guns will fire when it does a close combat attack, meaning it's got really nasty close combat damage. Only 1 weapon missed there, one of the MGs. I also do some pilot damage. Here comes the last mech that we haven't seen yet. It's a Locust 1S, which is the SRM2 version, so it's got 2 SRM2s. I'm getting a bit worried about the fire starter at this point because it's already taken quite a lot of damage, and it's supposed to be a tankier light mech.
Yeah?
Here's my other problem. The Urban mech only has 8 rounds for its AC 10, and because I'm not rearming, that means that every shot I fire in this mission is a shot I'm not bringing with me into the next mission. I did see that 80% chance to hit there, so I decided to take the shot because I figured an AC 10 shot on the spider would be pretty brutal. And I do manage to take out the right leg. A leg destruction is an automatic knockdown, which is also an automatic pilot injury, and also -1 to initiative, so they go later in the round next turn. I believe these pilots only have 3 health, so if that spider pilot takes 1 more damage at this point, they will die. That was one of the Locusts taking a medium laser shot and missing.
What do you need?
Shadowhawk, I was considering doing a melee attack here, but I was looking at the damage. I could do 85 damage with a melee attack and have no evasion, or I could move up and try and get 3 chevrons worth of evasion and make a ranged attack.
On it.
The nice thing about the Shadowhawk is that it's so heat neutral, I can pretty much fire every weapon every turn and not worry too much about overheating. Because the spider is knocked down, I get to make a cold shot. And here's where I make a big mistake. I should have fired at the leg, but I decided to blow the torso off as well, which really doesn't do anything to stop the damage output of the spider. If it gets back up again, it's still got both of its medium lasers, whereas if I destroyed both the legs, it would be mission killed. As you can see, it now gets up. It gets to take a turn where I could have actually killed it there. It does a melee attack, which is only for 30 damage, but it's 30 damage I don't want to take.
Standing by.
Here's the biggest mistake I make of the game. I move the trebuchet up again. And what I really should have done here is backed it off. But I figured the 3 medium lasers was more than enough to fend off these light mechs. That's the worst place I could have put that mech.
Onward!
I obviously decided to take a shot at the spider because I'm desperate to finish
I
it off at
will.
this point.
Done.
There goes the other torso, but it's actually still as functional as it was last turn because both of those medium lasers are in the center torso. So if the AI wanted, it could have taken another turn with the spider at full power. The Urban fires at the fire starter and misses, thankfully. That IC-10 would do a ton of damage.
Commander?
And I decided to get the fire starter out of there. And the good thing about the fire starter is there's a decent number of jump jets, which means it builds up a whole ton of evasion counters when it jumps. And I can still fire at the end of the jump. It's a really good mech, the fire starter. So I'll take my 2 medium laser shots on the spider in the hope that I kill it. And thankfully I finally do. However, the lack of salvage from that mech is
destroyed.
a little bit unfortunate. Destroying every component means there's not really anything to take off the corpse. I'm very worried about the Urban Mech getting overwhelmed, but what I should be worried about is the Trebuchet. The Urban Mech is... It's going to take a couple of hits, and it's far enough away from those locusts that they're not going to get a great shot at it unless they charge straight at it. Why I take this shot here, I don't know. A 50% with an AC-10 on only 7 ammo, I should have just braced.
I'm gonna make some
Because there's another miss, and that's another shot I don't have for the next battle. The AI left its 2 locusts there, because it wants to wait until I've moved. And there's another mistake. What I should have done is also reserved and forced it to take a move, rather than playing into what it wants me to do. I'm actually getting outplayed by the AI here. I'm not taking it seriously enough, because my thought going into this fight was 4 light mechs, I can take this. I try to get a flanking shot on this locust because it hasn't got any evasion. It does have cover, which is 25% less damage. The problem is the angle's really bad for the LRM. It's too close, so I switch targets to the Urban Mech. There's no reason to move forward to make that shot. The mech that should be forward is the Shadowhawk. It's my tank, and I'm not using it effectively. We'll peg it down to rookie mech warriors, so not blame myself. So I've got a 50% chance to hit there with the AC-5 on that Urban Mech.
Copy that.
But I do have the LRM-5 to add a little bit extra punch.
Attacking from position.
And it's a good shot that gets rid of the small laser, but the AI set up its facing. I don't know if it did it intentionally, but it feels like it did, so that I couldn't fire on the right-hand side of the mech, which is where the AC-10 is. That Urban Mech is unsteady at the moment as well. So further stability damage would knock it over, but I don't get the chance to do that. And at this point, I'm not really that worried. I mean, 4 SRMs on the front arm of the trebuchet can take a couple of hits of that. But I've made a mistake that a lot of pubbies make in MechWarrior Online, at least back in the day, which is I've let light mechs get in close. And suddenly you realize that that Locust has an alpha strike of, what, 50, almost 100 damage, just under.
Good to go.
And it won't overheat when it's doing that, and it can build up tons of chevrons. And suddenly that little tiny 20-ton mech is actually quite scary. And it will continue to be scary as this game continues.
Right, Commander.
The nice thing about the fire starter is even though it's running hot, I can sit back and fire the 2 medium lasers.
Firing on target.
And a bit scared of the urban mech at this point, but I should really be more frightened of those locusts. The good news is their urban mech pilot is just as bad a shot as my urban mech pilot. However, they don't have to worry about conserving ammo for the next
What's
mission.
up, Commander?
70% chance, I'll take that shot, but I still miss. Has Nazir hit yet this mission? I'll have to go back and look. I don't think he has. And then here's the big problem. Because the AI reserved last turn, it now gets a single shot on me before I get a turn, and it gets 4 SRM4s into my rear armor, completely stripping the center torso at the back. In fact, there's 2 armor left, but that's basically nothing. Then the other Raven gets to go and fire on the weakened back armor. Luckily, it misses with both medium lasers. If it had hit with both those medium lasers,
Fire is reached.
we'd probably be looking at a very different outcome to our campaign right now. And yet, I still shoot at the urban mech with the Shadowhawk. I still haven't quite grasped how much danger my trebuchet is in. I'm not giving light mechs enough respect, and it's really funny because I'm usually a great proponent of light mechs or scary mechs. You should give them more respect than people do, and here I am completely ignoring my own advice. This is me now realizing I need to get this trebuchet out of here. What can I do? And I'm thinking, well, I can sprint him away. But the problem is his sprint distance is their run distance. So they could run up right behind him and shoot him in the back. And I can't turn him around to force them to fire on his front armor. Every sprint is just a bad position. I'm worried I'm going to lose Lionheart here before he's even completed his first mission. This is me attempting to back up and find a decent shot. I figure that I can at least get a good shot from here, even though I'm going to get shot in the back next turn. But then I realize I put my back to the urban mech. The other choice is to try and do a melee attack or spin on the spot. But I'm thinking, well, if I could build up a couple of evasion slots, that makes it a little bit harder for me to be hit. It's a very difficult position. I've really badly played and put myself in a bad spot.
Moving to position.
I decided to get into a position where I can take a shot, because at least I've got 80s to hit with the medium lasers, and the locusts do have no armor.
Roger that.
All 3 shots hit the right hand side. Unfortunately, one of them hit the arm, so I didn't get the torso destruction. Then the AI uses its fury to get a focus shot with the urban mech, which means it ignores evasion and any armor, which wrecks the armor on my fire starter. Not armor, sorry.
Can't take many more hits like that.
Ignores the bulwark ability, which halves damage incoming. Which that wrecks the...
Commander?
I consider a death from above attack on the urban mech here. But because I've got a damaged leg, I worry that I'll lose the leg in the attack. And again, I can't afford any of my mechs to get too badly damaged. It's going to cost us too much money to repair after we get out of this mission. Here's the nice thing about the fire starter.
Alpha strike.
What we might look at doing is if we can get our hands on some small lasers, replacing those MGs with small lasers, and that would turn the urban mech into a really scary machine. Not that it isn't already a scary machine. And here we go again with the SRMs to the rear. That's his left arm, stripped of armor. Now my urban mech gets to go,
Something I
but
can do.
because he's so slow, he's been left way out of the battlefield. He can't even hit that locust from there. And I've only got a 25% chance to hit, a 50% chance to hit, or a 70. So the game's kind of forcing me to make a decision. Do I take a 70% shot at an urban mech, or do I not fire? Because those are my only options. I'm just looking at what my options are if I jump. But it's not really any different.
Going airborne.
We finally get a hit, and we knock down the urban mech. So if something goes our way, when he stands up next turn, he's going to get a penalty to hit, and he's going to be going later in the turn. So I'll be moving with my medium mechs. I only have 4 shots left, however. And again, that's only 4 shots for the next mission. Now the locust backstabs.
I'm being flanked.
Again, I get very lucky that one of those medium lasers missed,
That got past my
and the other one hit the arm.
Yes, Commander.
I have the same dilemma now. What do I do with this trebuchet? How do I get it out of this position? My worry again is I don't want to sprint and leave its back turn, but when I finally get far enough that I can turn around, I don't have enough evasion chevrons to really make it worth it.
Yep.
I decide to see if I can death from above with the Shadowhawk, but it's too far away. So I bring it up to try and do something about these locusts. But because they've moved and they're fast, they've got enough evasion chevrons that my shots are really bad. Hitting light mechs is actually really tricky, especially if you don't have a way to circumvent that, like sensor lock or precision strike or just having a high gunnery skill. I decided to go for the Alpha Strike because
Eat this.
I need something to go well. Both SRMs hit. I think that's all that hit there. But I did get a pilot injury. Doesn't really mean much until the pilot dies, but
I await your command.
I want to try and take advantage of the damage that he's got on him already. So I need to fire him from the right-hand side. So now I'm starting to think a little bit better. I get into the woods, that gives me cover, that's 25% damage reduction. And I take the shot on the Locust.
Affirmative.
When I take out the right torso, that means the Locust has lost 50% of its armament, which is something. This battle would have been a lot easier if I just really thought about where to put the trebuchet.
Watch the sides.
And that's another 4 SRMs to the rear armor. I can't believe at this point that I haven't lost this mech yet, or I haven't lost an entire torso.
Waiting for orders.
Especially with the fact that there's LRM ammo in those torsos.
Moving to position.
I'm desperate here for the Firestarter to do something about this Locust before it gets its turn.
Got it.
But the medium lasers don't do enough. They do crit the small laser.
Critical hit.
What that means is the small laser crit in this game means the laser can't fire this turn, or it gets a huge accuracy penalty. I'm not sure exactly which. So the AI does something interesting. It decides to withdraw the Locust until that crit clears, which it will clear next turn.
Yeah. On the
The only
move.
mech I've got left is the Urban Mech, and I'm really loath to use it with so little ammo remaining, but I have the opportunity for a cold shot to mission
I'll
kill
make 'em set.
this Urban Mech. Now that's some interesting
Goodbye,
salvage,
moron.
because the AC-10 on that Urban Mech is intact. And if we can get that as a salvage bonus, then that's something we could use to possibly upgrade the Shadowhawk.
Standing by.
I'm not sure if this was a good idea either, but he had so much evasion, I didn't think shooting at him was worth it. And taking the leg out is actually pretty good. We're getting close to the end of the mission now. There's only one enemy left, but I've taken far too much damage. Actually, sorry, there's 2 enemy mechs left. I forgot about the Locust that withdrew. This one shouldn't last much longer, though. My idea here, again, cold shot on the leg it, take it out of the action. Unfortunately, the Shadowhawk fails to leg the Locust. The AI decides to move the energy Locust instead of standing up. Oh no, it can't because he's being pushed back by initiative. Never mind. I don't mind the trebuchet taking shots in the front, but when they hit the arms that are already really low in ammo, I get concerned. I was considering the melee attack, but what I decided would be more powerful is just an alpha strike on that leg. Just checking my heat. And that's 2 SRM2s from that mech that we could possibly salvage as well. There's only 1 Locust left at this point, so I'm thinking we've got this wrapped up. But the amount of damage my Trebuchet and Firestarter have taken, it should not have been that excessive. I could have played this a lot better. I'm just having a look at my mechs here, trying to think about how much damage I've taken. And this is when I realized that the Shadowhawk hasn't taken a single hit this entire game. And it should have been in the front. So at least I've learned something from this. You can see here that the flamethrowers in the Firestarter are out of ammo. Technically, the flamethrowers shouldn't run out of ammo.
What can I do you for?
So I'll let those refill for the next battle, because you only get 3 or 4 shots with them anyway. But no one else will get a refill. We'll just say that, you know, the fusion tanks got refilled or whatever, because they do run off the actual fusion plant in the Firestarter. Why did I take this shot? That's like 40% and I only have 3 ammo left. I'm just a bit, I think I'm a bit off at the moment because of realizing how badly I played this. I'm enjoying the drama though.
I
Looking
await
back
your
on
command.
it. I'm probably coming across a bit more frustrated than I am, but the drama of the fight was pretty good. There was a few situations where I was very concerned that it was all over.
Rolling. Yeah.
Now we popsicle the locust.
Aye,
Ray Jim's in for the final kill.
Copy that.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough salvage rights to salvage an entire locust from this fight because the legs on that locust are undamaged and the other locust was legged. So we could
Roger.
possibly put them together, but we have to. Okay, join me in part 2 where we engage the pirate captain and his bodyguard with what's
Mission
left of our lads.
successful.
Thanks for watching.